Hi, my name is Emily, and this is the Delight Knits podcast, episode 2. Thank you so much to everybody who watched and liked and commented and subscribed on my first episode. It means a lot, especially with how nervous I sounded, especially in the beginning, and I probably do in this one too. But with all the views and comments and subscribes, I figured I would just keep going with this. So as I said before, my name is Emily and I'm from Southwest Arkansas. You can find me on Instagram as delight_knits, and you can find me on Ravelry as Delight Knits, one word. So similar to last week, the first thing that I'm going to start off with is my finished objects. I have one finished object from last week, and that is my Desert Vista Dyeworks socks. So there are two. Last week I just had to Kitchener the toe of one of them, so I did finish a full sock in the since I podcasted 2 weeks ago, and actually finished it in 1 week. So this is the Desert Vista Dyeworks Tweedle Zombodys in her Viso base, the 7525 that I got off of a D-stash from Suburban Stitcher on Instagram. And this is how much leftovers I've got. That's about 40 grams. So I could I'll definitely be able to get another pair of socks, just shorties out of them. So now I'm excited to get to wear those. Add them to my big sock collection. I knit those on a 2mm US size 0. I did a knit to purl to cuff for about 5 stripes, and I think it was about a little less than 20 rounds, and then 2 repeats of the stripes, a slip stitch, heel flap, and gusset. And then on these, I think I did about 65 rows to the toe, which is actually a little shorter than usual. When I tried it on, that's what it seemed like I needed, but now they are a little short for compared to all my other socks. Like I can feel this on the edge of on the bottom of my heel. So it may go to one of my sisters that has a shorter foot than me, but I will try wearing them first, of course. Let's see. So as you can see, they do kind of match, where they both start with the red, and they're pretty similar on their striping. So I did wind off this small little bit, basically a whole repeat of the stripes, to be able to make them match, just because I had that much yarn left over. So that was the only finished object for the last 2 weeks that I had. I've got 3 works in progress currently. One of them you've seen before, and you'll probably keep seeing for a little bit. And then I've got 2 other new cast-ons for the last 2 weeks. The one that you've seen before is my Like a Cloud cardigan, which I've got in my Arkansas yarn crawl bag. The yarn I'm using for this is the Ruby and Roses yarn. I am using Driftwood, which is this, her 8515, I believe it is, Soft Rose is what she calls the base. And these are her spring collection, so Driftwood, and these cakes are a little messy, and then Common Ground on her Delicate Rose, which is a Mohair base, Mohair silk. And so I'm holding those 2 together for my Like a Cloud cardigan, and I have 2 sleeves finished. Let's see, 1 sleeve, 2 sleeve. So last time I podcasted, I was about here. And I did finish off that sleeve, and then I knit this entire second sleeve, and I knit those magic loop And then I also knit, you can see from this marker down on the body, because that only had about 1 inch. So let's see if I can actually, my t-shirt, it might not work, but I can put it on because I've got long enough cable on it. And so the sleeves look great. They'll walk out a little bit longer, but they will be perfect. Sleeve 1 and sleeve 2. And then now I've got enough, or I should definitely have enough yarn, but I can knit as long as I want to on the body. Right now I'm just right at my bust. So I'm super excited to get this one off the needles and wear it in probably the next month or so, depending on the weather. It is still pretty warm here in Arkansas. It's like, it can be 60s in the morning, but it's still can reach up to the 90s in the afternoon. So definitely can grab one of these and hang it on my office chair for the morning, and that's about it. And take it back home for the next day. This is has been my evening project, what I knit on after my daughter goes to bed, and just, it's pretty mindless at this point. It's a pretty easy repeat. It is a lot of purling because it is a cardigan. It's knit flat, and so, and then the repeat is half knit, half purls pretty much, each row. So it's half purling for this, so you have to kind of be okay with that. I am using my knit, I believe they're Knitter's Pride Ginger interchangeable needle set. This is this size US 4 3.5 milliliter. This is the first interchangeable set that I've bought, besides my Chiagu shorties. But I love them. So I'm getting to where I'm preferring the metal needles, but I'm still using these while I've got them. They're great. And I love the interchangeable cords, because when I would move to the sleeves, I had 3 cords on it, or 2 or 3 cords on it, where I could just take the needle, screw the needles off and move them to where I want it to work. Where if I was done with the magic loop, I could go to the body and just take a little break of the magic loop and just go back and forth. And I am alternating skeins on that one. I'm doing a row back and forth and then switching which skeins I'm holding and back and forth every other row, because it is hand-dyed yarn. So I'm hoping to make quite a bit of progress on that this week, because in the next few weeks I'm not sure I'm going to be able to. So my second work in progress, actually pretty much a fail. I don't know if you watch my Instagram stories. Last weekend I put up a poll of what to cast on next as my vanilla project. I had 3 colors of some of my hand-dyed yarn, or in different shades of purple, that I could stripe into a Musselburgh, because for my daughter, so she doesn't steal mine as it gets colder and time to wear it. And purple is her favorite color, so I think she would love that. So that was an option. This skein for socks was an option. And then my other option was some leftovers from samples I've done for some dyers, was holding these together for a Musselburgh burrow. So for, obviously this is the one I chose, as these are pretty empty and messy looking. So I cast that on Monday, and here's the progress I made. This is just how much I made on Friday, because I like to mark my progress, but I started this Monday, which was what was Monday? The 3rd? The 4th, Monday the 4th, October 4th. So I knit, and like the pattern says, I knit for a little bit and then measured my gauge. My gauge was getting pretty similar to what I knit my gauge at on my Musselburgh I showed you last time, where it was 7 stitches per inch, and that one fit her pretty well and would grow with her. And so I was thinking I'd just knit the adult medium, same thing. So I increased to those sizes and numbers, and then switched it over to a 16-inch circular, going from magic loop to a 16-inch circular after the increases. Then my gauge loosened, and obviously that is not an adult medium. I mean, look at it compared to my head. So this is, I mean, look at this. That's ridiculous. And that was my husband sneezing.
Sorry.
So my plan is to rip this out and start over completely, knowing that I will likely get a 6 stitches per inch gauge and do it based off of those sizes, because I should have enough. I don't think I would have had enough to knit it to where she would have the folded brim, which I think is fine. With it being mohair, it'll definitely be warm enough without it. But I know that if I go down, I'll obviously take out some width. I'll be able to add more length and should be able to finish a complete Musselburgh for her. So I'm gonna take a tip from Andrea Mowry. She said it in one of her I'll Knit If I Want To episodes, and stick this in the freezer because mohair is a pain in the rear to rip out, and I'm not looking forward to ripping this out. So it'll probably stick in the freezer today, and I may do that tomorrow evening depending on that. The yarns I'm using, this is Massive Skeins. This is her Fairy Dust colorway, and I don't think she currently has it in the shop. She only keeps her certain collections in the shop at a time. I know she'll bring this back because I did knit her a sample using this, and this was all the leftovers she let me keep, and so she will eventually show that sample I made her and bring that colorway back at some point. The mohair is Playful by Ruby and Rose's yarn. This is what I used for her Like a Cloud cardigan sample, held with fresh cut flowers, part of her spring collection. This one is not. This one's just an in-stock tonal, but it's same thing. It's leftovers that she let me keep, so I'm very thankful for that. Just not looking forward to ripping it out, but it's gonna happen because that ain't gonna fit nobody's head. It's a size bigger than my husband's extra large Musselburgh. It's insane. Nobody has that size head. I am knitting this one on I think it's a 3.25 millimeter, a US 3 needle. So I did start out with magic loop, which I've got just a fixed magic loop chiagu, and then I switched over to the 16-inch, which I am using. So same 3.25, I think it's 16 inches. It's part of my, my Red Shorties pack. So the cables that come with that and the longer, I think they're the 2-inch needle tips. So that's what I'm using for that. And that was my vanilla project this last week. Friday I had made it far enough that I decided, okay, I need to try this on and see how much more I need to knit vanilla before I start the decreases. And then I put it on and was like, oh no, it's too big. So I stopped. I was like, there's no point to continue on knitting with this. So my last whip that I have been working on is, as I think everybody is working on, is the Shawlography MKAL that came out this past Friday on October 8th. So if you don't, I'll show my colors, but then I will show how far I've gotten since then, and I will put a spoiler in and let you know what time you can come back after I've shown it off or taken it off. I did go up a needle size. He calls for a 3.5 millimeter, but he's got a looser gauge than I do, so I'm using the 3.75 millimeter on a Chiagu, so US 5. The colors I'm using, my color A, I'm using the Cabernet that I showed off last time. There's a hair on that. Long hair gets everywhere. So that's my color A. My color B, which he suggests to be the lighter or the darker, I chose to be the lighter, and this cake's kind of messy. But it is the sand dune colorway. So that is my color B. Put these back. Ooh. Color C is the teal. Ooh. And I am loving this colorway knit up. This one's probably got to be my favorite. Last time I said that it was the Cabernet, but as I'm knitting with this one, I definitely think it's my favorite. Color D, I haven't used these near as much. Let me see what I have. D is the mustard. This one's another one of those that I love a lot. I'll have to figure out what to do with leftovers, because I know he said there were going to be leftovers. And then color E, the last one, is the teddy bear brown. So, let's see. This was my swatch of all of them together. There we go. There's good light. And I swatched for those on Thursday evening before it happened, because I usually don't swatch for shawls. But I'm glad I did, because I went up a needle size and now it'll be closer to the intended size rather than just a little bit smaller. So let me get this back to where it was. So with the shawl, I have gotten through all of section 2. So if you don't want to see at least through section 2, I would suggest looking away in 3, 2, 1. Now I did steam block this. I saw Maddie from the We Share Needles podcast do it with the recommendation from Jessa from the Arkansas Yarncast. And it definitely opened up these little pearl ridges, or the wedges as he calls them in the pattern. So it looks fantastic. And I did use the Weave and Stevens and wove in all these ends as I went, and it's great. It pulled through and knit, and I went ahead and wove in all of the other ends. So that way, at least from here, I'm done with it. It's a little baby shawl. It's so cute. I'm ready to move on to the next section, which I will probably do today. I steam blocked this last night. I knew it would be a lot easier to show without it on the needles today, so I'll start section 3 tonight. And it shouldn't take me that much longer to finish these clues, which is why I'm hoping I can work on my Like a Cloud cardigan a little bit this week, because next week I imagine it's going to be quite a bit more knitting, and each clue will probably get more and more as the shawl gets bigger. But I'm excited to keep going with that. I'm loving seeing everybody's combinations and colors. I did look ahead in his video at the spoiler to kind of help me pick out colors, because this is my first knit along, or mystery knit along, and I wanted to know which colors would show off the best. When I did start, I chose the yellow as this color C color instead of D. And as I went back and relooked at the end picture, there's another section here where this color gets shown off a lot more, the teal will, color C. And in his live on Friday, he said color C would be a great, or there's something fun to do with it later and more clues to come. And so I figured I want that teal to pop. So I'm gonna use that teal as color C. So I'm excited to see where that's going. Let's see, so that is all of my whips, my works in progress. I do have a acquisition this week, and it's actually a birthday present from my in-laws. My birthday was the end of September. I requested, she's one of those where I send her what I want. She gives me a limit, I send her what I want and she buys it. It's great. So I requested her get me the blue set of the shorties for the Chow. These go from, let me open them up. I'll show you what they all come with. So it comes with the little bag and the little front zipper. There's a little needle gauge. There's a little needle gauge that it comes with for all of the sizes in that, I believe. And then let me make sure I don't lose any needles. The snap. Yeah, these like to pop out a little bit. So it comes with the 2-inch and the 1-inch, starting from a US 4 3.5 millimeter all the way up to a US 8 5 millimeter. And my plan is to use these on sleeves for sweaters. It comes with 3 cables for all of these. You can see them. And these are a different cable than the red cables because the red twist shorties are a whole lot smaller just because they are smaller size needles. And so the connector is a lot smaller. But it comes with 3 needles, a 5-inch, 6-inch, and 8-inch. And you can make those into whatever you want based on adding the 1-inch or 2-inch size needles. And then it also comes with the fasteners, a few ring stitch markers, there's an actual, a cord connector. I don't know if it'll focus on it. A cord connector to connect 2 cords to make it longer. There's 2 of those, and then 2 end stoppers. So all of that came in the Twist Shorty set. Let me put all that up. And then I also got, for my red set, a couple of extra cord lengths. Oops. With my red set a few weeks ago, I had already had a 40-inch cable to be able to magic loop, and one of my needles I put in and twisted probably a little too much, and the little screw part on the needle broke. So one end of this is useless. So this will go in the trash now. And one of my needles is useless, but I'll probably keep it. I'm sure I can get replacements, but it's 1 out of the 3 needles that I've got. I can still do things with those. But I got the 2 of the 30-inch red twist minis, and you can see these are so much smaller than the blue ones. So I got 2 of the 30 inches to be able to do magic loop there and make a 32 or 34-inch cable. Then I got 2 of the 14 inches to do 16 inches. And so I've got more cables for those. I'm pretty excited about that. I do use these red ones a lot. I like to use them for socks and the Musselburghs. So they usually just stay in my sock bag because I like to keep all my extra markers and such in here. I always keep markers or the stitch markers and a darning needle. And I think there's a progress keeper, not sure. Yep. That just stays in my sock with. So if I don't get my Musselburgh, the pink and purple Musselburgh ripped out before I go to work tomorrow because I like to have a vanilla project for lunchtime. I might go ahead and cake this up for socks this week. This yarn is Daisy Stitch Co. She's out of Waco, Texas, I believe, which is kind of where I grew up. And this is just one of her one-of-a-kind bases. Every now and then she'll do a one-of-a-kind sale. And I think I got this for $10. I mean, you cannot get indie dyed yarn for $10. Hardly ever. And so I snatched this up. A lot of my socks that I have are her one-of-a-kinds. And they're great. It's an 80-20 base. But I just love this orange here. The orange and blue mix. And it's perfect for fall. So that'll be a pair of socks. Just probably vanilla socks. Or I might do a 3x1 rib up the leg to help it kind of grip in a little bit. I've got a few of those and I think I like those socks better than just a plain vanilla leg. Well, I think that is everything that I have to show you. I've got it all right here on the ground with me. I have greatly enjoyed reading all the comments on my first video and watching the analytics. I am an accountant with my full-time job, and so all the numbers and analytics type stuff is my kind of thing, so I like to keep watching that, and it's just fun to watch it all grow. I do hope to record at least every 2 weeks to be able to give y'all some kind of a content instead of, oh, this is what I've been working on, I got a couple inches on this every week. Now, with that being said, we are coming into November, December, I'm part of the way through October, but with November and December, we've got the holidays and hunting season coming up. I do a lot of traveling with my family. My husband's a big hunter, so we go almost every weekend to hunt with his family. And then we travel a lot for Christmas and Thanksgiving to see all of our extended family. So I'm not sure about keeping up in those months. We'll see how it happens. A lot of people are doing the Vlogtober right now, where they're putting up a daily vlog every day. I didn't really think about that, but it got me thinking about how Vlogmas is coming up in December. I may or may not do that. I may try and do like a weekly vlog of like, this is what I did this week. I do work full time, and it's one of those, I get up, I make lunches, get my daughter up and dressed, we drive our 30 minutes to work. I work all day. I just knit at lunch break. I don't get to knit at work. Drive back, cook dinner, get her in bed, and I sit in bed and knit for a little bit and then go to bed and start it all over again. So the weekends are when we do a lot of our stuff. We usually go see family or have lazy weekends, and we like to spend some time outside. So I've got some time to think about that and think about if I want to do Vlogmas. So let me know if you'd like to see that. I want to thank everyone again for all the love on the first episode. Let me know how the second episode went, if it went any better than the first. I would greatly appreciate it if you would like, comment, and subscribe. That helps me know whether people are actually liking this and it's worth to keep going. So I believe, I'm looking through my show notes, I believe that is everything. So thanks for watching. Bye.